What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Hawk Talk on Melrose. Another disappointing loss yesterday, 10-7. We're recording this on Sunday. Collin here alongside Tyler. Tyler, at the end of the day, though, at least he looks good in practice. That's all that matters, right?
That's that's what we keep hearing from everybody, coaches and players and everybody keeps defending Spencer Petras and saying, that we as fans don't get to see how he looks in practice and how good he actually looks. And I don't know how many times me, you, or even Colby when he joins us talks about how practice is clearly not the same as a game because he's playing horribly. So
And that's like the thing is, like, I feel bad for the guy because it's like he's just not good. And like we just keep putting him out there. I mean, like, you can get mad at Petras all you want, but it's like you got to look at the coaching staff and be like, why are you even putting this guy out there?
yeah,
It's more of an indictment on the coaching staff than anything. Like I
right.
don't like Petras, but like as a person, I like him. I mean, he's a good guy. And it's not his fault that they keep putting him out there. He has zero confidence. And we'll get into the game, but Ferentz post game said it wasn't a fair assessment because someone asked him about, why do you, keep Petras out there and something about he hasn't seen a fair assessment yet. Well, in 9.5 games, if you have one touchdown and 9 interceptions, that's a fair assessment that the guy is not that good.
Yeah.
And then another thing that bothered me in post game is Petras sitting there talking about how his footwork wasn't there, blah, blah, blah. It's like you're 5 years in the program, 3 years as a starter. You have started now 21 games. And
Yeah.
you're still like talking about footwork, like, I'm sorry, you're done. You're not a college quarterback. I'm sure you'll have a very bright future in whatever field you're studying. I think he's actually, I think in like a pretty good, like getting like a really high degree in something. He's gonna have a bright future in that. Football is not a future for him. He's just not good. And when are we gonna eventually just realize that? And I'm not saying Padilla is the answer. I'm not saying Joey Labus is the answer, but you got to give them a try at least because you don't know until you at least put them out there and just see. If it's the same exact thing, well, then yeah, it's this season's doomed, and we need to literally burn the entire thing to the ground this offseason. Starts with Brian Ferentz, starts with that, like the entire coaching staff, offensive coaching staff, but
Yeah.
at least put in someone else just to see what could happen.
Kyle, me and you were at the game yesterday sitting next to each other. And I mean, you thought you had a pretty good feeling come halftime that you're like, you pretty much thought to yourself, like, there's no way that Alex Padilla doesn't at least start the second
Start.
half. He had Spencer Petras, I think I reminded you multiple times because I just kept seeing that stat, like 33 yards and a pick in the first half. We go, there's just no
Insane.
way. There's just no way Alex Padilla doesn't get a drive or two to see if we can. Again, we're not naming him the starter after week 2, but we got to win this game. Like, you're trying to win a game.
Yep.
And it seems like they just have too much pride on the line that they just don't want to change because for whatever reason, Petras is better in practice or he's, had more experience or whatever the case may be. And we hear after the game, like you mentioned, everybody's pointing the finger at everywhere else but him. Dude, like, a receiver is a dependent position. They depend on the quarterback throwing them the ball. We don't have a quarterback in Spencer Petras to be able to do that. So,
Yeah.
how do you expect our wide receivers, tight ends, running backs to be better if the guy throwing it to them isn't any good? That makes no sense to me.
The entire offense is just a dumpster fire.
Oh, it's a disaster. The offensive
And
line played horrible again yesterday, by the way.
it's on life support. I think
It
it's
really is.
past life support.
Oh,
I think it's like literally dead. Because you just don't know
Colin,
where.
are we the last ranked team or the
Well,
worst statistically ranked team in
we're gonna
college
look we're
football?
gonna look that up here soon. I'll look that up here
It's
soon.
it's past life support. We are
And you just don't, so like at that point you don't know, like it's a combination of things. It's obviously the
yeah,
offensive line, it's Brian Ferentz, it's Petras, it's not having Keegan Johnson, not having Nico. Even though I think even bringing those guys back, is it going to really do anything if you don't have a quarterback, like you
that's
said,
what I'm
throwing them
saying.
the ball? So it's a combination of things. It's the scheme.
Right.
It's defenses not having to worry about going down the field. I'm going to show actually this. So once again, we are on YouTube. So I'm going to share my screen here. So people that are listening, obviously on, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, whatever, you're not going to be able to see this. Actually, gosh dang it. I don't know if I'm going to have to maybe send it over my phone. I'll do that here soon. We'll just keep talking and then I'll do that
All
here
right.
soon. But yeah, actually, I'm going to share the screen for the stats of this game so people can see it on
just how pathetic we have been.
Yeah.
To say
the stats for this game, I mean, if you don't look at the score, you just look at the stats. I mean, you say Iowa State wins this game like by 3 touchdowns.
Right.
21 first downs. They were 50% third down efficiency. Iowa State was.
Yeah.
Total yards, 313 total yards. I'm like, that's not bad.
No.
Time of possession, 38-21. Remember that episode? Probably one of our first episodes of the season. What were we talking about? Like our identity, running the football, winning the time of possession.
Yeah, controlling the clock. Yeah.
What does that ever happen? Like seriously,
it doesn't seem like it. No.
It's beyond annoying.
We were basically tied with South Dakota State and then got dominated in it in this game.
It's so annoying. Rushing yards only 50. I mean, like 58. Like, are you kidding me? 3 turnovers. I mean, that was one of those things with like Iowa State the last how many years? That's the reason why they've lost to us. Is we've won the turnover battle. Well, we pretty much tied with them. But also at the same time, I mean, I don't think this doesn't show. We also had 2 block punts, which I mean, you have 2 block punts at home. You should never lose that game. It's just one of those things. I don't care what your stats are. You should not lose that game if you have 2 block punts. Yep. So yeah, it's pretty pathetic.
The amount of opportunities we have, and going back to the first game, including this second game now too, in our opponent's territory, and we do absolutely nothing on offense to even gain a first down is ridiculous. And that's the telling stat. It's not like we're starting at our own 5-yard line every time. We're having great field position. We still can't even do anything with it.
Yep.
And that's, I think, really frustrating because our defense and special teams puts us in such great spots for our offense, and our offense does shit.
Yeah, I mean, that first block punt, we obviously scored a touchdown. Awesome. Second block punt, what even happened? Did we even get anything out of that second block punt?
No, well, no. I mean, obviously not.
I know, but didn't we got that in plus territory? So what ended up happening there? I can't even remember, honestly.
Well, I know Peaches threw a pick in the first half. There was a fumble.
Oh, that was yeah.
I think it was a fumble.
Yep, it was a fumble.
And you made a good point too, Collin. I think as soon as we knew when Iowa State got that turnover, and regardless, we obviously got 3 ourselves and plus 2 punt blocks, but like they don't turn us over in this series, at least recently. And when they started doing that, I had a bad feeling too.
Yep. I will say this too. Can you see this screen?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. I didn't know if I opened up a new tab of it. We'll go back to this here quick. I will say this though with Iowa State, because I know there's some Iowa State fans that listen to this episode or this podcast. 2 things for Iowa State. Number 1, like you guys have a good. I mean, I'm kind of jealous. I mean, I think Hunter Deckers is gonna be a great quarterback for you guys. I think he probably still has 2 or 3 more years, and like he looked poised. That was his first career road start in a hostile environment. And he looked poised. I mean, he had 2 interceptions. That 1 interception almost just looked like a miscommunication with the receiver. Yeah. Because it looked like he ran inside instead of going out, and he threw it. And I went back and watched that replay. If the receiver would have went out, he would have easily got that pass because our corner was playing in. So that was just like a miscommunication there with wide receiver, which is going to happen. It's your second career start. But so that's number 1. Like, I give you guys props. I mean, you guys have a good quarterback. I don't know why Iowa didn't go after him. I'm not saying that he would have went to Iowa, but we didn't even offer the guy. And he was a 4-star out in Northwest Iowa. Like that, and once again, that goes back to like our recruiting for the quarterback level has been so bad. I mean, it has been so bad. We just always just want to get those 6'5" statues, like Petrus and Nate Stanley. And Nate Stanley was a pretty good quarterback. I'm not dissing him, but It is rather annoying. And another thing is, what a statement drive. 99 yards. What was it? 12 minutes off the play clock. Or the game clock. I mean, that was a statement drive going right down
Six
the
first
field.
downs. Yeah.
6 first downs.
Impressive all the way around.
Or they were 6 for 6 on third down. That drive.
Third down, yeah.
And that's what won them the game. I mean, and I give you guys props. Iowa State deserved to win that game.
Yeah, they did.
There's no reason to even, try to blame, oh, the refs were bad. If this would have happened, if that would have happened. No. We had plenty of opportunities. We had 2 block punts. We had 2 interceptions.
Right.
Well, and that second interception, it was right before half, so we wouldn't have gone down. But still, 2 interceptions, 2 block punts. I know they fumbled at the goal line, but we fumbled, so it's like
right. That's what I'm saying. They had chances to score too, and they kind of messed up. So that drive, they deserve to win that game with that drive, 100%. And for Iowa fans out there that are like you said, that are blaming the refs and stuff like that, stop. Come on, that's maybe a play or two in the game that you thought maybe didn't go Iowa's way. That's football. That's how it goes. So.
Yep. And and then one other thing too is I think, I don't know, it's hard to, I just think that at the end of the day too, we said, what did we say? Yeah, we said on Wednesdays that it was going to be a low scoring game, but we thought, and this is the reason why we thought Iowa State was going to win, is because they're going to have that one drive that they're going to go down the field. And I thought it was going to be more like a big play drive, air it down long. It's going to be a quick drive. But same thing, we just thought there was going to be that one drive where Iowa State is going to just make a drive out of it and score. And that's kind of when we thought, the game would be over. And it exactly happened that way, because when they scored, me and you looked at each other, and there's still 8 minutes left in the game. It was 10-7. Game's over, because we have no confidence.
I looked at you. I said, "Good night, Irene," for the Iowa offense. It was. We knew
Game's
they
over.
hadn't done anything. They hadn't done anything up to that point. And I know they had a shot at the end. And I think it's something else that I brought up early in one of the early episodes, and I kind of wanted to talk about, because you even brought it up again to me yesterday. You're like, we have to be perfect in the kicking game too, because it's going to come down to that. And we had a chance to tie it at the end of the game, and obviously with the wind and the rain and the bad conditions, he missed it. And that it's 48 yards. That's it shouldn't have had to come down to that, but that was another sort of glaring thing that I noticed. Our kicker, that kicking situation is not great either, and that sucks.
Yeah,
well,
especially
because we're so used to having a great kicker.
Yep. But yeah, and I was thinking this last night, if we don't have any confidence in the offense, after we got down 10-7, does a coach, does the offense itself, do they have any confidence?
It's a good question.
No, I don't. I literally don't think. I mean, Petras has lost all confidence. He just looks like he's completely. I mean, he had a few yesterday. He finally actually got that play where he actually stepped up in the pocket and actually ran for 5 or 10 yards. But outside that, it was the same old with Spencer Petras. He just plays with zero confidence. Okay, so now back to this. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see this. This is a picture of a football field. I'm kind of describing it to people that aren't watching on YouTube. And it's all the dots where we threw the ball at. And the line of scrimmage is right there. We threw the ball more than 10 yards twice. One was incomplete that looked like, what was it? Or one was complete that looked like it was about 14 yards. And then we had another incompletion that was 17 yards. So not only that, but the other glaring issue is look at all the side to sides that we throw. We don't attack down the middle of the field. If you're a defense, this is so easy. So easy. And then we wonder why our offensive line sucks. We wonder why all these different combinations. And it's well, once again, they can put 8, 9 guys in the box, because look at this. I mean, all they have to do is look at this picture and see all the throws that we make 5 yards out, 5 to 10 yards out. You're not beating them down the field. It's honestly pathetic. It is truly pathetic. It is pathetic that we went into second half or went into halftime, didn't make a quarterback change. I looked at you. I thought we were going to get one. I saw Brian Ferentz running the tunnel, and the entire time he was talking to Padilla. I really thought that Brian was telling Padilla, hey, you're going to be the guy in the second half. But no, it's just not going to happen. And I just don't understand. I don't get it. And I am willing to bet Petrus is the guy next week, which is sad because you have to give someone else a chance. I mean, once again,
Well,
9.5 games, 9
yeah.
interceptions, 1 touchdown. That is
Colin,
pathetic.
this graphic you have up here, this is the blueprint, right? This is the blueprint for every defense. Let's run blitz, let's pass blitz Petrus every time.
Yep.
They're not going to attack us downfield. And this is on Brian. This is where you got to look at Brian Ferentz. Yeah. And go.
Just the offense in general, the route trees, the scheme, everything.
Can you test a defensive corner for an opposing team just once down the field? You never know. You might get a flag. You might get a 15-yard interference, 10-yard holding. Might get a jump ball 50-50. Someone might come down with it. You never know. And you're right. This is why our offense is so limited, though. We are not even attempting to complete a 15-yard pass. That is really the saddest thing
one time in this
one
game.
time. And that's what I think we had to, because it was probably second or third and long.
It was that play that we completed was the end of the game to Alec Wick.
Oh, okay.
Where we actually would set up. That was the longest catch of the game.
Okay, so again, when we had to actually have a little sense of urgency, we decided to throw a 15-yard pass. Wow, congratulations. This is so sad.
Yeah. So I'm going to go to 2 plays. I have the highlights of the game. I'm going to go to these 2 plays. I want to just, once again, people on YouTube are going to see this. People that are listening are not. Sorry. We'll try to best describe it as best as we can. This is the 2nd down and 8 with 44 seconds left in the first quarter. We're up 7-0. This is like what I was saying at the end, a statement drive. If you score here on this drive, you're in plus territory. You get up 14-0 against Iowa State with the ball in the second half. I feel really good. So this play, I like the play call. I mean, but
I
formation,
really do like
the play call.
You're under center. You've got a little play action fake.
Steps up in the pocket.
Steps up to avoid the rush.
Throw the ball now. What's he doing? Waiting that long.
He held on the ball for 3+ seconds. You can't do it, Colin.
Yep, especially in a play action pass, and especially because I'm going to go back again. Look at how many guys are lined up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you know that they're bringing a blitz. So you got to do it fast.
Correct. And Petrus actually does, like you said, the right thing, knowing they're blitzing, steps up. And if you know that they're already here with the blitz, you just got to get rid of it. You got to. You can't, because that's detrimental. That's another play in their territory where we do nothing and give the ball to them, and that you can't happen.
So then this is this is the sky view cam of that same play. So as you can see here, no one's open, which I understand why he steps up. But right here, why he doesn't just throw it now?
Left. Throw it left. Give him a chance.
If you intercept, if it goes over his head, interception.
Throw it towards the sideline. Give him a chance, but also don't put it into harm's way that way.
Yeah, I just don't get it.
I don't
even if you, like I said, if you throw over his head, whatever, you play to live another down. If you intercept it, well, the guy's getting at the 10-yard line versus them getting at the 50-yard line.
Literally.
So, and then this other play. This is one other play that I want to show that it was just.
I know what play you're gonna show. I think I.
What do you know? What play? I think it's right here. Okay. Yep. This is the interception. All right. So this play pisses me off.
It's the pick. Yeah.
Because Petrus. Okay. Look at how he gets very nervous right here. He has plenty of time. He can literally roll to the right. But no, instead he gets all fidgety because he's very nervous about it.
Because there's a guy at his feet.
I'm going to move this over here.
And this speaks to the lack of mobility of Petrus. He can't move to his right. He's a statue. So there's a guy at his legs, and he's like, okay, I got to throw it.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
So then he throws it to this guy with 3 guys around him. 4 guys around him.
Yeah. The ref is ducking, dude, by the way.
Dude, I don't get it.
What does he see? That's 3 years of experience.
3 years of experience.
He's a senior. He's in his second game, and we're throwing that ball.
Yep.
That is where you have to, as a coaching staff, maybe even as Petrus. I don't know. Maybe it's not his job to do this, but be like, hey, I haven't played well. I think the other guy deserves a shot. Or Padilla walks into the fucking coach's office, excuse my language, but says, give me a shot. What do we have to lose on offense?
Yeah.
It makes zero sense. And again, you're not going to know until you at least try it.
At least
try
it
something
out.
different. You're not firing anybody. Well, maybe you do. I don't know. I doubt the Iowa coaching staff gets fired or, roles get changed during the season, knowing how that we operate.
No.
But what's the next thing? Quarterback change. You got to try it.
Any other program,
yes,
would have fired Brian Ferentz. Well, would have fired Brian Ferentz before the season because
correct
of a 5-year assessment of this offense,
correct.
and it has not been great in 5 years. So that's number
one.
Use
the analogy of your job all the time about how if you don't perform, you're going to be fired. This is the only maybe coach in America that gets this many opportunities.
Nepotism at its finest. So not only that, okay, but let's say a program does keep him around. After 2 games, if it was kind of on that short leash type of thing, and you see 2 games like this, I would bet money on it. 90% of the programs in college football would have fired Brian Ferentz today, after this game.
Right. Yeah. It's a good point.
But so did you know that Brian Ferentz doesn't even coaching staffs in America, and I get it why, because his dad. So college football, assistant coaches obviously report to the head coach, right? That's their quote unquote manager. Brian Ferentz, his the guy that he reports to is actually Gary Barta. So Gary Barta has to be the one that has to fire him, not Kirk.
Is it because his dad's the
It's because of his dad.
Yeah, I get it.
And they want to keep it to make it look but it's annoying because Gary Barta's not going to do anything. Gary Barta's not going to fire him. You already know that.
Right.
So the only way
it's kind of like chipping away at Kirk at that point. So
the only way we're going to see a change is if Brian Ferentz after the end of the year just said, I'm taking a step down.
Yeah.
And what I would love to see is him back at the O-line. Because I think Brian Ferentz was actually a good offensive line coach.
Right.
That's what he played in college. That's what he played in the pros. That's what he coached when he was at New England. He's an O-line coach. He's not an offensive coordinator.
Do what you do best. And
when he was O-line coach for us, our offensive line was actually pretty good. And I forgot what his name is, the offensive line coach. This is his second year. Last year was his first year. Clearly, he's not doing a good job either because the offensive line has not improved. Right. Now, granted, you could go back. Well, when you're sacking 8 guys, 9 guys in the box, it's tough for the offensive line to do anything. I get that. I 100% get that. But it's still, there's times when Iowa State's only rushing 3 guys and they're getting pressure. There's a problem.
Well, and we got to remember now, Brian Ferentz is also the quarterback coach this year,
which is just pathetic.
What? That combination clearly has not worked out, and maybe has hurted Spencer in these games. I don't know. If you're the quarterback coach and offensive coordinator, that means you're working as close to the quarterback as possible on a day in and day out basis. Yep. And these are the performances that we're getting from him. So clearly there's an issue.
It just sucks because last year we kept saying throughout the season because it was such a bad, nothing's bad. Last year was nothing like that. It was bad last year.
Oh, well, we were winning, right?
Give me last year's offense over this year's offense, even though it was still bad. But at the time we kept saying, we have to wait till the offseason. We have to wait till the offseason. We cannot, it's just too big of problems to be able to fix on a game-by-game basis. And it's so sad that we are in week 2 and we are already, I'm already going to be talking about, Hawk fans, we just got to wait till the offseason. Because, nothing's going to change. And, even if we get to the offseason, literally what needs to change at this point, like I said, a complete overhaul. I love Kirk, so keep Kirk, but Kirk needs to be you know what? Because it's his offense. Let's be real here. 20-some years as head coach, the offense has always been the same.
He has final say, for sure.
Whether it was Ken O'Keefe, Greg Davis, Brian Ferentz.
Yeah.
It's all been the same.
Yeah.
Now, Ken O'Keefe was actually not a bad offensive coordinator. Granted, I think Ricky Stanzi, Sean Green, players like that really made them kind of stand out. Brad Banks. But Kirk needs to go in the offseason and be like, number one, get rid of Brian. Number two, we're hiring an offensive coordinator outside the program, and I'm giving the reins to him.
Yes.
He's gonna do whatever offense he wants to do, and I'm gonna have no say in it. I'm gonna give it all to him, right?
Right.
That's the only way. And then in the offseason, if you don't like where your quarterback situation's at, whatever offensive coordinator that you bring in, you try to get someone to come to your offense. So, like, for example, Nebraska, which granted they're 1-2 now, but it's more their defense, not their offense. They go out and get Mark Whipple, okay? And then who do they get? They get Casey Thompson from Texas. And pretty much the only reason why Casey came to Nebraska was because the offense. I mean, with Mark Whipple at Pitt, the job that he did. And so, like, that would be the only way that we'd be able to maybe get, like, a somewhat decent quarterback is if we brought in, like, an OC from somewhere else.
Yeah.
And like I said, Kirk has to say, though, it's their offense. Because if he hires someone, because Greg Davis was at Texas, and his offense was different than what he has to say those words, though, because if he doesn't, it's going to be the same offense.
They know.
Yeah, regardless of what it is. So that's the only way it's going to change. And the problem is I'm starting to get worried because we're going to start losing recruits on the offensive side of the ball. Soundoff made a good point last night. I know Tyrone Tracy and Charlie Jones left, but we're lucky that not more players left in the offseason. Because who wants to play for this offense?
No.
If you're Caleb Johnson, if you're LaShawn Williams, if you're Keegan Johnson, Nico,
Sam.
I mean,
Sam
Sam
could went to the NFL. There's probably a reason for that.
Yeah. It's like, why would you want to play for this offense? Why would any recruit want to come and play for this offense? And like I said, the only way that you're going to change it is if you, in the offseason, because like I said, I mean, we're in the season now. It's not going to change during the course of the season. You literally have to go into the offseason, burn the bridge, make it all collapse, and rebuild.
Yeah.
That's the only way.
Yeah, I mean, what 4-star, 5-star, hell, 3-star wide receiver quarterback wants to come here to hand the ball off? What? Why? If you're a running back, maybe, but now with you see the offensive line and the fact that there's zero passing game at Iowa and you're just going to get blown up and get maybe 50 yards a game right now, why would you want to come here? That's a legitimate question you can ask yourself, for sure.
So Colby just tweeted or sent a DM. Massive news for Iowa's 2024 class as 4-star dual threat quarterback James Ressner announced that he has committed to Iowa. So hey, maybe that's what we need. Our first ever dual threat that we actually landed.
Okay. Well, it's still very early. And again, I don't want it to sound like I don't want recruits to come here. I think me and you are just describing maybe how, if I were a recruit, how I would feel about coming here, right?
Yep.
And so, obviously a lot of recruits, we still get good recruits. Like, I don't want to say that clearly there's a connection with the coaching staff, things like that, tradition, things like that here at Iowa that, a lot of players are enticed to come here by. But you're exactly right. Like, man, you've got to be better. And it starts maybe with an overhaul, because
it does.
It is bleak right now in Iowa City. Yes. And I'm telling you, and I want to throw this in here. We were talking about a little bit Padilla and Petrus, and I want to mention this. If I'm Iowa or I'm, Kirk Ferentz, why don't I give Padilla a full start against Nevada, see how he does, and if he does better than Petrus, it actually, the offense maybe generates some points. Looks good. And I get it. It's Nevada. They're probably the worst team that we're playing. But at least you prepared him for Big Ten play.
This is what I'm worried about, Tyler, is Nevada is so bad that I feel like the Ferentzes are nervous about starting Padilla, because if he does look good, they're going to look like idiots. Oh, my God. Like, I guarantee you, that's why I feel like Petrus is going to start.
That's why I said it's a pride thing.
Because, and then, like, Petrus might look good next week, and then it's like, oh, hey, see, guys? That's why I don't think Padilla is going to start next week, because they don't want to see Padilla. And maybe but it's just like, that's the only way I can think of it, And that's the reason why they don't put him in these games. Is like they don't want to like see him do good because then they're gonna look like
Right.
the idiots
I mean,
for
they've
not
already seen
playing
him.
him.
So they've already seen him against South Dakota State, which is an FCS program. I think we have to remind ourselves that is an FCS program. Now we play against Iowa State, obviously a much better team that I think will be decent in the Big 12. But come on. And again, we know this, but I agree. I think you make some good points. You're kind of speaking on the behalf of like what the coaching staff thinks. And I agree. I think if you started him twice and gave Padilla zero chance so far, I don't see a change happening either, to be honest.
And that one other thing too about regarding yesterday's game. I am sick that we lost. It sucks.
Yeah, it sucks.
Iowa State, congratulations. You got the trophy back. CyHawk, I mean, it's always a good feeling win that game. So I know what you guys feel like, waking up on a Sunday morning. It's a good feeling.
Yep.
The thing I'm most disappointed about is that there was no from week 1 to week 2. If anything, it got worse. Week 2 was like I thought yesterday's offense was actually worse than week 1.
Statistically, it was.
There was no change. No change from week 1 to week 2. And they always say that's when you get better. It's from week 1 to week 2. And I really thought I felt confident as the week went on. I picked Iowa State 13-10. But I'm not going to lie to you. Can't come yesterday morning, I felt very confident because I really thought, you know what? The entire offense, the entire team has heard the noise from the outside this whole week, bashing and making you guys look like fools. Like, I really thought that they would come out and try to make a statement.
And we did early on.
Well, we did.
7-0.
Yeah, we did early on.
Feeling real good.
Special teams.
We were, and it would. If you would have told me that that's how the game started and we scored 7 points just like that after deferring to the second half, we were feeling pretty good. And I get it. It's early, but you couldn't ask for a better start, especially of how we played in week 1. And we still, when it came down to having our offense actually having to do something, you're right. We made zero change. There was 0 adjustments made from week 1 to week 2. 0 halftime adjustments. We got the ball, and I think 3 and out. It's like
3 and out right away.
It's just
we're wasting a year. We're wasting a year because our defense is good.
Yeah.
Special teams is good, and we're just wasting it because of our offense.
Yeah.
We had a decent offense. I think anyone that listens to this episode, whether you're an Iowa State fan, whether you're whatever fan you are, you have to agree that if our offense was good, we would have a great year because our defense is so good. Our special teams is so good. It's just annoying because we're wasting it all. So
we are statistically, I believe, after this game, the worst Division I college football offense.
I'm gonna look here.
One of them.
As I'm also sharing my screen here, this is what Incarnate Word did to Nevada last night. 55-41, 616 total yards, 406 passing yards, 210 rushing yards. Yards per play, 8.9.
Wow.
I will bet money on it, Tyler. It's going to be like a 28-3, 28-7 game, which is pathetic.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I can't see Iowa scoring 30 points after what we've seen so far. And again, Nevada has a really bad defense. Clearly, they gave up 55 to Incarnate Word.
Clearly,
but think about it. The blueprint is laid out for the Nevada Wolfpack, right? Blitz, stop the run, and just blitz. We have not shown the ability to even run the ball effectively. So I don't see us getting to 30. I'd be shocked.
So as you're talking there, I pulled up the stats. We are 126th in the country in total offense. We are ahead of New Mexico State, New Mexico, UMass, Toledo, Fresno State. I mean,
why are there zeros though for Toledo and Fresno State? Have they not even played?
Maybe they haven't.
So
That's
really,
weird. Let me see
we're
here.
like the fourth.
I can spell.
Oh,
no, they did.
Well,
that's weird. That's very weird.
When is this?
Season date?
Huh. Yeah, I don't know. That's really weird.
Yeah. But regardless, we're
in the mix with a team named Toledo.
Let's see
with the Toledo Rockets here. Collin.
Scoring offense 127th.
Yeah, I mean, again, and there's zeros on there. So like it is as bad as it can be. Colin.
This has to
I've
be
never.
wrong, though. Iowa State 10.0. They put up
Oh
40-some
no.
points last week.
Yeah, no, that ain't
And then they
right.
put up 10, which, and you obviously,
Is that just for last week, Colin?
I don't know. It says 20.
No,
I don't know. That
I'm not
regardless, though,
sure.
we are probably dead last or
To
second
we're
to
one of the
third to
we're
last.
yeah, we are one of the top 5, or probably around top 5 worst offenses in college football right now.
Yep.
And you're exactly right. Our defense and special teams play so good, but it's so sad that they have to try to overcome. Like, as a defense, you have to literally, they have to be like, we have to get a pick 6 in this game
Yep.
because our offense might score 7 to 10 points, and we haven't even scored 10 yet. So that it's
So
bad.
where do we go from here? Like I don't know.
I don't know. More of the same.
Once again, you need to start Padilla next week. You need to give the offense some juice. There's word that Keegan Johnson will be back next week, which would be huge. Nico Reganey will probably be back maybe a week or two or after. Maybe, just maybe, something. The offense is lost regardless. I mean, nothing's gonna get this. This team is not just gonna magically start putting up like 20-some points a game. It's just not gonna happen. Maybe one game here or there.
Right.
But you get some of these guys back, and you start Padilla, and you just give him a chance. You go back to that Northwestern game. The first quarter,
there was
half
juice.
was terrible. And then he comes in.
There was
and
juice.
we score 2 on 14-0 just like that. Because it looked like the team was like, let's fucking go.
Right. We're not even asking Padilla to have a 4-quarter special type of game. We're asking him to put up maybe 2 scores.
Yep.
And our defense can keep us in it.
So I'm going to share the screen one last time, and then we're going to call it good for this episode. We're going to look at the schedule because obviously this is an instant reaction, so our emotions are high right now.
Okay, good.
Once again, I want to say this. As a fan, I hope we turn it around. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I hope we do. We still have a long season ahead of us.
Yep.
At the end of the day, losing to Iowa State, it does sting, but it doesn't. I mean, it's not a conference game, and that's when games matter.
Yep.
And I mean, this team could very well go like 5-7. I'm hoping not. I'm hoping that we figure something out. I'm optimistic. I'm not really optimistic. I'm hopeful. But let's see here. So Nevada next week, you got to win that game. And if you really want to get some confidence in the offense, you got to kill this team. And I know they suck, but at least, I mean, if you can put up 40-some points, you at least build some confidence going into Piscataway at Rutgers. Yeah.
Yep.
At Rutgers is going to be tough. I mean, they beat Boston College, and then they killed whatever team they played yesterday. And it's on the road. That's going to be a tough game. Michigan, I don't know how we're going to beat this team if our offense can't score. Because I mean, as good as our defense is, Michigan's going to put up points. Especially with this new quarterback that they announced last night that's going to be the starter, JJ. I think he's way better than Cade McNamara.
Did they announce it?
Yep. Yep.
Oh, wow.
Because, Cade started week 1.
Yep.
JJ started week 2. Go look at JJ's stats yesterday. He was like near perfect.
Wow.
I just want to go to it quick because Michigan football.
I totally forgot they were doing that system.
Go to ESPN here. Just because it's like, I can see why they're gonna start him. Let's see here. So Hawaii, let's see here. 11 for 12, 229 yards, 3 touchdowns. QBR was 99.2. And then in week 1, even though they won, like look at like Cade McNamara was 9 for 18, 136.
No, he didn't do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be a tough game.
Michigan fans were hoping that JJ was gonna be a starter, so I get that. Yeah.
At Illinois, I mean that's gonna be tough.
Illinois
just had a win.
Illinois
had a
dominating win.
At Ohio State, man, once again, they're going to put up 30, 40 points, and our offense is going to do diddly squat as of right now. That's an automatic loss. Northwestern, I mean, they beat Nebraska, and we thought, maybe they're back, and then they lose yesterday, and then we saw Nebraska lose. I was like, okay, maybe Northwestern's really not that good. That should be a win. At Purdue will be a loss at this point.
Yep.
Wisconsin at home. That's always a loss until we beat them.
Yep.
I think Minnesota's the team to beat. I think they are the team to go to the. As of right now, the
Go to
Big Ten
Indy.
championship game. They look like the most complete team.
Yeah, they're a really, really good team. I think Colby called that in one of the episodes. He thought Minnesota would be the team in the West.
And then Nebraska, I mean, their defense is terrible. So if you can't put up points against that defense, then you have major problems. Hopefully by then we at least have something figured out. I feel confident for that game. It's always the last game of the season, maybe, but who knows? It's a tough schedule, Tyler. I see three. I shouldn't say guaranteed because in college football anything can happen, but 3 wins for sure. Nevada, Illinois, Northwestern. The rest of the games, it's just kind of up in the air. Like Rutgers should be a win, but I don't know.
And this is an instant reaction pod to the Iowa State game, and so we want to say that first and foremost. But it's hard not to look ahead, right, with how bad our offense is. And we've only got one more non-conference game, and so it is a little, it's in our nature to kind of look ahead maybe a little bit. And I 100% agree with you, dude. If it doesn't change or get better, this is going to be a long season.
Very long season.
And I think both of our predictions might be a little off. I mean, I said 8-4, and I would at this point, if Iowa goes 8-4, I'll be the happiest guy I'll be the happiest Hawkeye fan out there. So, yeah.
One last thing to finish this episode. Through 2 games, Charlie Jones has exactly as many catches as he had in 14 games last season at Iowa and has more touchdowns for the Boilermakers than he had for the Hawkeyes. And I think he's only 50 yards short of what he got last year. Yeah, there's a reason why he decided to leave.
For sure.
And I had this theory. Yeah. I had this theory out, and I remember telling you this back in like May. And I think it's semi true. Now I get it, like he went there because, he knows the quarterback. They grew up together, like the offense, like it makes sense. But I really think too, and this is where I felt kind of like I was kind of like, oh boy, hopefully this isn't the reason.
He goes to Iowa.
He goes through a spring game or spring practice with us, right? And he leaves after the spring. And he saw the offense was exactly the same.
Yeah.
As last year. And he was like, yeah, this is not worth it. Petrus, Padilla.
Good point. It's all about the timing, right? You're right. That's probably what happened.
I get why he he probably got recruited after the spring, but he came back to Iowa. I mean, he had literally an Instagram saying unfinished business, ready to go.
Yeah.
Goes in the spring ball. He practices every spring practice, plays in the spring game. Then he leaves right after. And it's almost like, God, was one of the reasons is because maybe he was like, yeah, what I just went through in spring game and spring practice was exactly the same as last year. And it's going to be exactly the same coming this fall.
And it's even going to be a little worse because it's the same. Defenses know how to figure that out. Yeah, everyone knows how to prepare for
same quarterback. Yep.
So what's different? And then we should have maybe looked at that and said, and maybe you did. You just didn't want to say it. You didn't want to hope that it was true, like you were saying. And maybe that should have been a little bit of a clue as to what the season could have been and is right now. So you make a good point there. That's crazy though. His stats he's doing amazing at Purdue right now.
Yep. So that will do it for this episode. Once again, 10-7 loss against Iowa State yesterday. Hats off to Iowa State.
Yeah.
Played an unbelievable game.
Deserved to win that game.
That 99-yard drive, statement drive there. Yeah. That was a big FU drive. Yep. You've got to give it to them. I think
they did it against our defense.
Yep.
And
I told an Iowa State guy, if Deckers looks really good yesterday against this Iowa defense, hostile environment, you should be pretty excited for the season because that's the best defense you're going to face all year. I don't think there's a better defense in the Big 12 that they're going to face. Now they're going to be facing a lot better offenses, and that they're going to have to match those offenses, right?
Right.
A lot of high scoring games in the Big 12, but you're going to have a pretty good year. I could see this team, and I said this from the get-go that I said that their record is going to be better than last year's record. Even though they lost so many guys, that last year's team was the best team in Iowa State history. I just knew with zero expectations, win in the dark, they're gonna have a pretty good year.
They were 7-5 last year. Is that right?
7-5. Well, 7-6.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
include the bowl game.
Right.
So
No, I agree. I think not as much expectation, and I do think Hunter Decker is. I mean, he showed what he
he's
can do yesterday.
poised.
And as an Iowa fan, I'll just say
Great
this real quick.
accuracy.
As an Iowa fan, like, yeah, it's going to be tough playing him for the next couple of years. That's for sure.
Yep.
So
100%. So, well, that will do it for this episode. It can only go up from here, right, Tyler? Maybe not. I don't know.
well, Spencer's QBR did go from a 1.1 to a 12. So
Yeah.
I
So
guess
maybe next week will be like a 20 because we all know he's going to start. So
right.
you
It
know.
can only go up. That's right.
I thought Tyler, one last thing. I thought maybe him wearing a glove might have done it.
Yeah,
but,
we saw the glove. We thought maybe that was the rain, or maybe that was just,
but no,
I don't know what
was
that
not the
was.
reason. So
Yeah, it was not it.
but, all right. Well, we suffered through this with
Another therapy session.
Yep, another therapy session, and we'll be back again here later this week. And yeah, so thank you guys all for listening. Once again, we're on YouTube, we're on iHeart, we're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, whatever you guys listen to. Please leave a review, tell your friends, tell your family, whatever. Try to get this podcast out there for you guys. So thank you guys all for listening, and go Hawks.